Welcome everyone, it's Gray Shirt Guy, Rock the Gray Shirt. As always, Be'lakor, the Dark Master, wishes you a good day and hope for the future. Although he's not going to give any hope to the future to the enemies of Be'lakor, though. He's going to do some pretty spicy things. Unfortunately, I glued him to the base, so it's going to make painting him a little bit more difficult. But maybe not painting him, but painting the base might be a little bit more difficult. So we'll sort that, figure that out. But anyways, we're doing a quick studio update here, trying to figure some things out, and just having a little chat. Kind of want to discuss where I am from the last video and what I plan on doing moving forward. Which is funny because a lot of my videos are, hey, what do I plan on doing? Daily vlog. Anyways, let's move on. So I got Be'lakor here. I assembled him, working on my Slaves to Darkness army, and I also will use him probably as like in a Chaos Space Marine army. He'd be a really huge Demon Prince, or just playing him as himself. So we'll leave him right there. So yes, what have I done since the last video? Well, so the last video, I took it to heart. I was like, you know what? I want to make a video that people really enjoyed on my channel, that they watched in 2021, that wasn't made in 2021, and kind of the content. So I looked at Magic the Gathering, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm doing this big build project where I'm trying to build all of my backlog. So I really don't have a lot of time for Magic the Gathering. Okay, so let's kind of set that aside. And I was like, all right, let's do a build video. Okay, I have a Leman Russ battle tank I was going to assemble, so let's do a build video on that. I started filming it, and either I didn't script it right, or it's the filming angle is kind of off, or just where the inspiration from other YouTubers and trying to not copy them, but also make the video entertaining as well as informative. It just wasn't meshing right, and it would have required a lot of voiceover. And I just was like, well, do I have time to do voiceover? Not really. It's a really busy, January is really busy, February is really busy. It probably won't stop being busy until like April, May timeframe. So I didn't really have a lot of time to do voiceovers. I think I still have the footage to do the voiceover for the tank assembly. We might release it at some point in the distant future, but I also might just delete it because it's something that it's just like, I'm not having a good time with it. So that's up in the air. If I need the hard drive space, I'll just delete it. But well, we have been building. We kept the building chain going. We have pretty much all of our Imperial Guard are done, minus the super heavies that I have waiting. The super heavies are the last thing I'm making. Maybe I'll do a video on just like assembling those, or just showcasing those when I'm done with those, because I think those will be pretty fun. But we finished those, and then we started on the longest build project that I have done, and I did not want to film it because it was just irritating me every single day. The Howling Griffins Primera Subassembly project, and hopefully there's a picture here up on the screen of what that is, of them at least in their current completed state. It was building the legs, building the bases, torsos, everything, doing all the mold line removal, painting the arms and the guns and the heads and the backpacks to cork, and just using this little drill right here. And I do have a pin vise, but I really like this drill, and I kind of like holding on to this. I don't mind the pin vise, but I do like using this little drill I picked up when I was in Japan. It's just a 1mm drill, but I like using it. It feels a little bit better than the pin vise. But it just took a lot of time to do the Pretorian Guard, and I would get home, I'd have maybe 1 to 2 hours, and I would look at it, and I would start doing 1 or 2 Pretorian Guard army or models, and it just took a long time. I finally finished it, I think last Monday. I think it was last Monday, because today is the 13th. It's the day before Valentine's Day of February. And then it's, I think it was this past Monday is when I actually finished the last Howling Griffiths model. And so we finished all that, and then I pulled the Slaves of Darkness over here, and I had to build, I had one Hammerhead long strike for Tau, because I actually realized Tau, the new codex came out, and the Hammerheads are awesome, and I actually didn't have a Hammerhead, and so I went out and impulse bought a Hammerhead, and so I finished building that, and then I built a couple, I built the Karags Ravagers kit, the 4 models that are in that for Slaves of Darkness, and then I built a war, what do they call that? or War Queen, I think is what she's called, which is more of a barbarian, Slaves to Darkness kind of. You can use her as, I think, an HQ choice. Age of Sigmar has different names. So it's like General or Leader or whatever, but I just call, I kind of follow the 40K allocation. But either. So I worked on that. I built those yesterday and today. So I'm actually really having fun with the Slaves to Darkness. And the next thing I have after this video is to knock out this Mortarion. And I'm planning on just taking a look at this, but I'm not going to assemble them today. I got really heavily back into Fallout 3 when I started doing the Howling Griffin's Army, and I quickly beat the main campaign, and I have all the DLC, but I was like, and then I liked Fallout 4, or Fallout New Vegas, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to play Fallout 3, then New Vegas, then 4, and then if I really like 4 and like the DLC that comes through 4, maybe I'll pick up Fallout 76. And so I played 3, beat the campaign, but then I started looking at modded Fallout, and I played the modded Fallout 3, one of the modded Fallout 3 games, which changed Fallout 3 a lot, made it really nice graphics and everything. And then I was just like, and I wanted to see if New Vegas had a version of that. New Vegas sort of did have a version, kind of an upscaled version of it, but it wasn't the same. And then I found about Tale of Two Wastelands, which takes the New Vegas game and ports Fallout 3 into the New Vegas game. So you're just playing New Vegas, but you get to choose in the beginning, do you want to start the Fallout 3 campaign or do you want to start the New Vegas campaign? And so I was like, all right, cool. So we'll do Tale of Two Wastelands. It did take a long time to install. It took about 3+ hours to install. And I started the game up, and it's basically playing, you play the Fallout 3 the whole game, all the DLCs, you can play all of it, and but you have the starting stats and attributes, and there's no more big guns anymore. It's just guns. You start with everything that's New Vegas, but in Fallout 3, you can even pick the wacky wild wastelands and play it in. You can, apparently they added some wacky stuff into the Fallout 3, the Capital Wasteland area. I haven't gotten to that because when I picked my first starting character, I picked a starting stat perk which gives you increased stat points, but 10% lower, 10% less experience, which you can perk out of, which you can get perks that give you more experience. So you kind of like negate that. But then I picked plus negative perception if not wearing glasses, but increased perception if wearing glasses. So I'm actually kind of annoyed by that because I can't wear the power armor helmets because I have to wear the glasses or I have lower perception. That's the only negative side, but once I get to the New Vegas area, once I'm finished with Fallout 3, apparently there is a place where you can reset your perks. Then I can pick up Wacky Wasteland and kind of figure that out. So I've been really heavily into Fallout 3 when I'm not putting models together. And so I was putting together the Howling Griffins, and it was taking so long that I just had to take a bunch of mental breaks. It was just subassembling that army and I did it for a really good reason, because painting the quarter scheme without subassembly would irritate the crap out of me. So there is a reason why I did it, and so it will pay fruit forward. And so we've been doing, let's see, that we talked about Magic, we talked about where I am at Warhammer, we talked about Fallout, and we got 2 more topics, and then we'll wrap this video up. And then I do have a third topic, and I'm more of a, we'll try to do another video here in a little bit. But I picked up a 3D printer. I picked up an Anycubic 6K 3D printer and a wash cure station. I did the first test print, and the base on the test print was adhered very well to the base plate. And it's kind of a thing from, I looked it up, and the base plate, a lot of people had problems with models not sticking to their base plate, especially on SLA liquid resin printers. But the base plate on the Anycubic Mono X 6K is great. It's got a weird checkered pattern which allows the prints to, and I don't know if it's that or just material, just kind of they designed it, but it stuck very well. I didn't have a problem with it sticking. Actually, I kind of felt like it almost stuck a little too well, which could be a settings problem, either with the cure rates. And it was my first print ever, and I kind of just, a lot of people had, there was a mix of, I plugged it in and pressed go and it worked, versus, well, you really should look at all the details. And so I haven't honed it in yet. But aside from it snapping off the base, and that was not the printer, that was me just kind of like taking the scraping tool to the base. Everything else worked pretty well. The C and the Anycubic on the end could have been punched through a little bit better. And I think that was kind of settings related. UV cure power, time. I think that was a little bit more time. Where if I would have, because it does say on my bottle, I picked a plant-based resin, which is supposed to be low odor because I have the cats in the house, and it is off in its own room with an air purifier, and it's behind a door, and so it has ventilation. So I'm not too worried about that. But it did say that the cure rate on the bottle per layer recommends, it's like 3 to 5 seconds, up to 23 seconds to cure. So what I probably will do is increase the layer cure time per layer. So a lot of 3D printing stuff to be coming here in the future, and I don't know if I'm going to be doing, and I will be highlighting 3D printed models as I go on, but I will not be printing any models until I finish assembling my backlog. I bought the 3D printer specifically because prices for Warhammer are going up. They just announced prices for Warhammer going up. I spent over $10,000 on Warhammer models and that doesn't count for paint and everything, in 2021. And I think that was probably the biggest spend year for Warhammer I've done in a long time. I have amassed a lot of armies, and I still have, for the stop motion battle reports, which I'm still planning on doing, I still have ideas where I want like big horde armies, but I was just like, I can't pay GW prices for these anymore. And I won't be using GW models on my 3D printer. My 3D printer will all be third-party sculpts. They'll be models that I will use in Warhammer, but they will not be models. I won't be doing any IP theft, so don't worry about that. But I will be using primarily either free models that you can find on the various STL websites, or I'll be using models where I buy them off like My Mini Factory or whatever, and I'll highlight those prints, and so 3D printing is going to be a thing on this channel moving forward. Just showing 3D prints, maybe not like giving you tutorials on how to print, because that's kind of not, there's a lot of 3D printing tutorial videos and helpful channels, so I probably won't be doing a lot of those, but who knows. So I got the 3D printer and I printed this first one, and I did, I bought a couple accessories, namely a flexible build plate, so I don't have to worry about trying to scrape off the build plate. I am going to install that, but I'm not too worried about installing that until I finish this backlog. But I did get it, and so 3D printing is all good to go once I have that installed. And I got that mostly because I want to make a Tyranids army that has a lot of models, and it was going to be thousands of dollars in GW kits if I were to do that. But for 3D printing, it was a couple $100 worth of STL files, and then just resin and time. And yes, it will take a long time to print that many models, but it wouldn't take me that long to assemble them anymore. And I'm trying to find prints that I don't have to do a lot of assembly with. But I also don't need those armies right now because I still have once I'm done with this backlog, I still have tons of models to paint. I have thousands of models to paint. So I did get a 3D printer. The other thing I got was I picked up Total War Warhammer 3. I pre-ordered it. It comes out this coming Thursday, worldwide release, and it preloads on Tuesday. I don't know. I know Mortal Empires, which is my preferred campaign, will not come out right when the game comes out. It's going to come out a little bit later. I pre-ordered it because I want to get the Ogre Kingdoms for free. But I will be doing... I don't know if I'll be doing a Total War campaign on the channel when it first releases, because I play at 21 by 9 mostly for most video games. I don't play at 16 by 9, and so I play ultra wide resolutions, and ultra wide does really weird on YouTube, and so I'm not 100% sure if I'll be doing a campaign right when it launches. I will be playing it when I'm not playing when I'm not assembling models, or when I'm not playing Fallout. I will be playing Total War Warhammer 3. If Mortal Empires takes a while, that's mostly because, or that's probably why it won't be on my channel. I do plan on probably playing Chaos, the Demon Prince, where you get to kind of choose your own faction, and I probably will align myself with Nurgle and Khorne, primarily Nurgle more than Khorne. Probably. I'll look at the army models when they fully release, and I'll kind of see where I want to go. Probably won't go Tzeentch or Slaanesh, but definitely Nurgle might be, because Nurglings are kind of funny. Other than that, I don't really plan on doing Kislev or Kefehe, which I think I could be pronouncing that one wrong. I don't plan on going those campaigns, but when Mortal Empires launches, you bet you I will be doing a campaign on my channel when Mortal Empires launches, and it will be Karl Franz, and it will be the Empire, and I'm going full-on campaign. We are destroying the old world. We will take the old world. We will either raise every settlement to the ground, or we will conquer and claim every settlement, and we will destroy chaos. We will destroy every other faction. They will either align with us or they will be destroyed. And Karl Franz will completely take over the entire planet. That is what I will be doing when Mortal Empires launches. Whatever factions I can fight against, I'm going to fight against all of them, and it will be Karl Franz on the Griffin, and will be, I don't know how many armies I'm going to have at the end of the long campaign, but it is going to be fun. Probably play it at easy to normal difficulty because, I don't want it to be, I want it to be like entertaining and not hard, but that is the plan. The plan is whenever Mortal Empires for Total War Warhammer launches, I will definitely be on my channel doing a Let's Play of the Empire as Karl Franz, just trying to conquer the entire planet. So if you're interested in Total War Warhammer 3, that is kind of what I'm going to be doing with that. And then one other thing, there are one and a half things. So I've been watching a lot of TV shows and movies, and I kind of wanted to do a little segment, try a short little review of some movies or shows, and kind of do like my takes on them, not reviewing them objectively against others. Well, maybe. I don't know. My 2 cents on movies that come out. So I might release a video here around the same time as this one, or a couple days after this one, about some zombie movies that I recently saw and I just kind of want to talk about. And then the last thing is I lowered the price of my book. So if you haven't bought it yet, the ebook is now $2.99. The paperback's still the same price, just because the cost of printing the paperback is not free. So. And I don't really get that much money back from the paperback, even though it's at that cost. I get like $3. So I did lower the cost of the ebook just because I kind of wanted more sales, and I feel like a higher volume of sales over time is better than low sales with maybe a slightly higher return. So I think so I did lower the price of the book. So if you want to support me, please buy my ebook. And that is where we're at. And Be'lakor, the Dark Master, wishes you a great day. So goodbye.